guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your fave, and I'm here today to talk about a really important topic that I just feel like we don't talk about in the artistic entrepreneurial community, which is money. More specifically, we're talking about how to monetize your social media platforms. For some reason, we just don't talk about money in our communities, especially as women, and I just don't feel like that serves anyone. So I'm gonna just share with you a few of the tips that I've learned along the journey about how to monetize your work, how to monetize your social media pages, and how to monetize your creativity. So the very first thing that I talk about in all of my videos that is absolutely key is to stay in your zone of genius. So I was watching a Warren Buffett and Jay-Z interview, and I was also watching an Oprah interview because that's all I do. And one thing that everyone who has achieved critical success, one thing that they all have in common is that they attribute their success to the fact that they have stayed in their zone of genius, which is just a fancy way of saying stay in your lane, bitch. If you're a singer, you need to sing. If you're an actor, focus on your acting. There's always time to expand and evolve your brand, but in the very beginning, it's so important to focus on your zone of genius and to hone in on that. And focusing on your zone of genius a lot of times means outsourcing the things that are taking away time and energy from your craft. For example, if you are a single mom and you're running a business or you're starting a business, it is probably worth your time to hire a babysitter to take care of your kids for 5-6 hours a week so that you can use those hours to take care of your business. One thing that is really important is to shift your perspective as far as looking at money. Focus on what is the return on your investment as opposed to focusing on the cost of your investment. So again, if you need to hire a babysitter because you're a single mom, a question that you can ask yourself is, how much extra money is paying a babysitter gonna make me? Instead of saying, how much extra money is it going to cost me to hire someone? Always focus on the return on your investment as opposed to the cost, because that just helps you keep things into perspective, and it's also just a more positive way of navigating money and your business, because it's so hard, especially in the beginning, to part ways with your coin. But let's be honest, you need to spend money in order to make money. And a really good way of starting off with that journey, especially if you have a hard time letting go of money and investing in yourself, is to think about what that return on investment is going to be and then act accordingly. It's also really helpful to think this way because it helps you to not spend money recklessly. Incremental steps are still steps, but just remember to focus on the return and not just the cost. It is also crucially important to focus on building a quality audience and not just a big audience. What that means is, do not buy followers. 100% do not buy followers, because it's so much more important, especially if you're selling a product, to have an audience that's engaged instead of just having a big audience. Everyone can tell if your followers are fake. If you have 100,000 followers and 500 likes per picture, we all know that your audience is a bunch of bots. The easiest way to build a community is to share your story and yourself with the people around you. That means being vulnerable, but that also means knowing who you are, right? People are not interested in following people that they cannot relate to. And the one thing that everyone is interested in and that everyone can relate to is someone else's story. If you think about the Kardashians, if you think about Oprah, if you think about Coke, all of the biggest brands, whether or not you like them, they became big because they are geniuses at marketing and sharing their stories. One thing that we all have, which is absolutely free and absolutely critical to your success in these social media spaces, but also in life in general, is the ability to connect with people by being genuine and just like being able to be vulnerable. Talk about your politics. Talk about whatever it is that makes you you. Share that with your audience, and that's really what's going to help you connect and engage with them on a real, authentic level. And that's why people follow each other. People don't just blindly follow other people, which is why it's so important to understand that your followers are humans and not just numbers, but just literally be a real human being. Not everything has to be perfect and manicured and filtered. Like, sometimes the best content is just raw, unfiltered, unedited, and just vulnerable. One question that I encourage all of you to ask yourselves when building out your social media pages is, would you follow you? Like, if you were an alien from outer space and you happen to come across your Instagram page, your YouTube channel, your Twitter, would you follow you, or would you be bored? A lot of people ask me why their platforms aren't growing, why their audience isn't engaged, and I always ask them, are you doing anything different from the masses? If we're keeping it real, everyone right now is subscribing to one standard of beauty, of personality, of aesthetic, of content. Everyone is making hair tutorials, makeup tutorials, and that's fine, but what else are you bringing to the table? Like, why should I watch you? And I think because right now everyone is kind of just a clone of everyone else. No shade. This is the perfect time for you to differentiate yourself from the masses, because that's also, as an influencer, what's going to help you attract the big name brands is the fact that you are actually doing something different. And the only way to be different from the masses is to be your true, authentic, 100% self. And that is the easiest way, and really the only way, to build a genuine, authentic audience. Another key is to not give discounts. This one is for all of the influencers out there. I know it is so tempting when a brand reaches out to you and you tell them your price and they tell you that that is just way too much for them and that's just way out of their budget, and then you lower your standards to meet them. That is not going to help you. No one can build a sustainable business giving discounts. Do you think you could ever walk into Chanel and tell them that this bag is way too expensive for me? Actually, can I have it for $10? No, you can't, because they have a standard and you need to have a standard too. There's also this idea that you need to have 20k, 10k, 30k followers in order to start charging, but that is not correct. If you know what your value proposition is, you can start charging right now. For example, if you are a photographer or a videographer, cinematographer, but you only have 500 followers, that does not mean that your work is not of value. If your value add is that you create beautiful imagery, you need to sell that to people and charge accordingly. If your value add is that you have a really big community of followers, 100k, whatever that is, and they're really engaged, you can sell that to people. Making money boils down to understanding what it is that you're offering, and that isn't always or doesn't have to be followers. That's not to say that having a big following doesn't count, but there's so much more that is involved in that, which is why it's important to ask yourself what it is that you're actually selling. And in most cases, it's not just a following. For example, the first time that I started charging a brand, which was for a collaboration, it was 3 posts and I literally charged $50, and I had about 12,000 followers at the time. And I look back now and I understand that that's completely ridiculous. I think for my standards now, if I had 12,000 followers and I was doing 3 posts, I would at least charge $200. Of course, that also depends on your engagement and it depends on so many other things, but I'm gonna link below in the description box a formula that helps you use your following, your engagement, to calculate how much you can be charging for a post. It really is different for everyone. Sometimes I charge people literally just for photography. Sometimes I charge to be a model, which means I charge per hour and not just for impressions. I also charge to do speaking engagements, which I also charge per hour. And the more that I grow and get better at what I do, the more that I charge. So all that to say, everyone literally has a different rate. It depends on who you are, what it is that you're offering. And the last thing that I'm going to say about that is, if you think you're worth $200 an hour, multiply that by 2 and then add tax. A key reason why it's so important not to give discounts is because you need to make room for the things that you want in your life. This is just a law of attraction. If you keep settling for the mediocre and the average, then the universe will continue to give you mediocre and average. But if you set a high standard for yourself, the universe and everyone around you will rise up to meet your standard. The same goes with dating. Would you ever date a musty-ass guy with halitosis who isn't about shit? Or are you going to set a standard for yourself? If you set a standard and say that I am not going to entertain musty-ass problematic boys, then the universe will not give you musty-ass problematic boys to entertain. But if you're having trouble setting standards with money, I would start with boys. You know what I mean? Start with your love life and start deleting and blocking all the people who do not serve you, and you will be amazed at how the floodgates will open with all of these options for you to choose, like literally. Another important point to remember is that excellence is a habit, not an act. So this means that we are what we do repeatedly. And I'm so invested in the idea of success being incremental as opposed to success being this one big turning point. There is no big turning point. If you wake up every morning and spend the first 30 minutes working on your craft, you will wake up 6 months from now and realize that, wow, I've built an entire empire, because that's actually how it works. And we talk a lot about luck and how a lot of success is luck, but luck literally is just opportunity meeting preparation. So if you are not prepared for opportunities, you will have no luck, because there is no such thing as luck. And my very last final point is that there is no destination. There is no destination when it comes to success, because success is in the now. If you cannot find fulfillment and happiness in the present moment, you're definitely not going to find it in the future. If you are chasing something in the distant future, you will get to that distant future and realize that there's nothing there. So a few weeks back, I had the realization that I'm literally living the life that I dreamed of living 4 years ago. And now that I've reached the so-called destination, I'm already looking to the next destination, because that's just how we're wired as human beings. We're always looking to what's next, especially when you're an artist and especially when you work for yourself. So it's so important to not have your happiness be contingent on a distant goal in the future, and instead focus on finding your happiness in the now, because that's honestly where it is. And I'm so much happier now that I'm not dependent on these lofty goals and successes to make me happy, because not only do your goals and dreams change as you evolve, but also they're just not the things that are gonna make you happy and fulfilled. They're just part of the journey. So just focus on the journey, enjoy your life, stay away from problematic boys, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, to comment and like, and to follow me on Instagram. And to take our relationship to the next level, hit that bell notification so that YouTube can let you know every time I upload a new video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. I had no idea this was going to be such a long video, but I appreciate you always, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!